Namaskar, Jai Shri Krishna. Illuminating texts 1, 3 and text 4 of chapter 23, Maharaj Prithu is going back home of 4th canto, the creation of the 4th order of Srimad Bhagavatam. Texts 1, 3, Maitreya Uvacha, Drushtavat Manam Pravayas Mekada Vainya Atmavan Atmana Vardhita Shesh Swanu Sargah Prajapati Jagatstha Sthusha Shra Chapi Vritti Do Dharma Bhrutsatam Nishapadi Teshwara Desho Yadartha Miha Jadnivan Atma Jesh Vat Majam Nyasya Viraha Drudati Niva Prajasu Vimanaha Svekaha Sadaro Agat Tapovanam. At the last stage of his life, when Maharaj Prithu saw himself getting old, that great soul, who was the king of the world, divided whatever opulence he had accumulated amongst all kinds of living entities, moving and non-moving. He arranged pensions for everyone according to religious principles, and after executing the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in complete coordination with him, he dedicated his sons unto the earth, which was considered to be his daughter. Then Maharaj Prithu left the presence of his citizens, who were almost lamenting and crying from feeling separation from the king, and went to the forest along with his wife to perform austerities. Maharaj Prithu was one of the Shaktyavesh incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as such he appeared on the surface of the earth to execute the orders of the Supreme. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Lord is the proprietor of all planets, and he is always anxious to see that in each and every planet the living entities are happily living and executing their duties. As soon as there is some discrepancy in the execution of duties, the Lord appears on earth as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.7. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Since there were so many discrepancies during the reign of King Ven, the Lord sent his most confidential devotee Maharaj Prithu to settle things. Therefore, after executing the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and settling the affairs of the world, Maharaj Prithu was ready to retire. He had been exemplary in his governmental administration, and now he was to become exemplary in his retirement. He divided all his property amongst his sons and appointed them to rule the world, and then he went to the forest with his wife. It is significant in this connection that it is said that Maharaj Prithu retired alone and at the same time took his wife with him. According to Vedic principles, when retiring from family life, one can take his wife with him, for the husband and wife are considered to be one unit. Thus, they can both combinedly perform austerities for liberation. This is the path that Maharaj Prithu, who was an exemplary character, followed, and this is also the way of Vedic civilization. One should not simply remain at home until the time of death, but should separate from family life at a timely moment and prepare himself to go back to Godhead. As a Shaktyavesh incarnation of God who had actually come from Vaikuntha as a representative of Krishna, Maharaj Prithu was certain to go back to Godhead. Nonetheless, in order to set the example in all ways, he also underwent severe austerities in the Tapovan. It appears that in those days there were many Tapovanas or forests, especially meant for retirement and the practice of austerities. Indeed, it was compulsory for everyone to go to the Tapovan to fully accept the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for it was very difficult to retire from family life and at the same time remain at home. Text 4. Tatrapya dabhya niyamo vaikhansa susammate arabdha ugra tapsi yatha swavijaye pura. After retiring from family life, Maharaj Prithu strictly followed the regulations of retired life and underwent severe austerities in the forest. He engaged in these activities as seriously as he had formerly engaged in leading the government and conquering everyone. As it is necessary for one to become very active in family life, similarly after retirement from family life, it is necessary to control the mind and senses. This is possible when one engages himself fully in the devotional service of the Lord. Actually, the whole purpose of the Vedic system, the Vedic social order, is to enable one to ultimately return home back to Godhead. The Gruhastha ashram is a sort of concession combining sense gratification with a regulative life. It is to enable one to easily retire in the middle of life and fully engage in austerities in order to transcend material sense gratification once and for all. Therefore, in the Vanaprastha stage of life, tapasya or austerity is strongly recommended. Maharaj Prithu followed exactly all the rules of Vanaprastha life, which is technically known as Vaikhansa ashram. The word Vaikhansa susammate is significant because in Vanaprastha life, the regulative principles are also to be strictly followed. In other words, Maharaj Prithu was an ideal character in every sphere of life. Mahajano yen gatah sapanthaha. One should follow in the footsteps of great personalities. Thus, by following the exemplary character of Maharaj Prithu, one can become perfect in all respects while living this life or while retiring from active life. Thus, after giving up this body, one can become liberated and go back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.